discovering in an invoice an error with which termination derives. Someday in your own department you will be directed to do or say something which you know will prove disadvantage to the interest of the firm. Here is your chance. Stand up like a man and say so. Say it boldly, give your reasons, and thus prove to your employer that, while his thoughts have been engaged upon other matters, you have been studying during hours when perhaps he thought you asleep, how to advance his interests. You may be right or you may be wrong, but in either case you have gained the first condition of success. You have attracted attention. Your employer has found that he is not a mere hireling in his service, but a man, not one who is content to give so many hours of work for so many dollars in return, but one who devotes his spare hours and constant thoughts to the business. Such an employee must perforce be thought of, and thought of kindly and well. It will not be long before his advice is asked in a special branch, and if the advice given be sound, it will soon be asked and taken upon questions of broader bearing. This means partnership, if not with present employers, then with others. Your foot in such a case is upon the ladder. The amount of climbing done depends entirely upon yourself. One false axiom you will often hear, which I wish to guard you against: obey orders if you break owners. Don't you do it. There is no rule for you to follow. Always break orders to save owners. There never was a great character who did not sometimes smash the routine regulations and make new ones for himself. The rule is only suitable for such as have no aspirations, and you have not forgotten that you are destined to be owners, and to make orders and break orders. Do not hesitate to do it whenever you are sure the interests of your employer will be thereby promoted, and when you are so sure of the result that you are willing to take the responsibility. You will never be a partner unless you know the business of your department far better than the owners possibly can. When called to account for your independent action, show him the result of your genius, and tell him that you knew that it would be so. Show him how mistaken your orders were. Boss your boss, just as soon as you can. Try it on early. There is nothing he will like so well if he is the right kind of boss. He is not the man for you to remain with. Leave him whenever you can, even at a present sacrifice, and find one capable of discerning genius. Our young partners in the Carnegie firm have won their spurs by showing that we did not know half as well what was wanted as they did. Some of them have acted upon occasion with me as if they owned the firm, and I was but some airy New Yorker presuming to advise upon what I knew very little about. Well, they are not interfered with much now. They were the true bosses, the very men we were looking for. There is one sure mark of the coming partner, and the future millionaire. His revenues always exceed his expenditures. He begins to save early, almost as soon as he begins to earn. No matter how little it may be possible to save that little. Invest it securely, not necessarily in bonds, but in anything which you have good reason to believe will be profitable. But no gambling with it, remember. A rare chance will soon present itself for investment. The little you have saved will prove the basis for an amount of credit utterly surprising to you. Capitalists trust the saving young man. For every $100 you can produce as the result of hard-won savings, Midas, in search of a partner, will lend or credit 1,000. For every 1,000, 50,000. It is not capital that your seniors require. It is the man who has proved that he has the business habits which create capital, and to create it in the best of all possible ways, as far as self-discipline is concerned, is by adjusting his habits to his means. Gentlemen, it is the first $100 saved which tells. Begin at once to lay up something. The B predominates in the future millionaire. Of course, there are better, higher aims than saving. As an end, the acquisition of wealth is ignoble in the extreme. I assume that you save and long for wealth only as a means of enabling you the better to do something good in your day and generation. Make a note of this essential rule. Expenditure always within income. You may grow impatient or become discouraged when year by year you float on in subordinate positions. There is no doubt that it is becoming harder and harder as business gravitates more and more to immense concerns for a young man without capital to get a start for himself. And in this city especially, where large capital is essential, it is unusually difficult. Still, let me tell you for your encouragement that there is no country in the world where able and energetic young men can so readily rise as this, nor any city where there is more room at the top. It has been impossible to meet the demand for capable first-class bookkeepers. Mark the adjectives. The supply has never been equal to the demand. Young men give all kinds of reasons why, in their cases, failure was clearly attributable to exceptional circumstances which render success impossible. Some never had a chance, according to their own story. This is simply nonsense. No young man ever lived who had not had a chance, and a splendid chance, too, if he ever was employed at all. He is assayed in the mind of his immediate superior from the day he begins work, and after a time, if he has merits, he is assayed in the council chamber of the firm. His ability, honesty, habits, associations, temper, disposition, all these are weighed and analyzed. The young man who never had a chance is the same young man who has been canvassed over and over again by his superiors and found destitute of necessary qualifications, or is deemed unworthy of closer relations with the firm, owing to some objectionable act, habit, or association, of which he thought his employers ignorant. Another class of young men attribute their failure to employers having relations or favorites when they advance unfairly. They also insist that their employers dislike brighter intelligences than their own, and are disposed to discourage aspiring genius and delight in keeping young men down. There is nothing in this. On the contrary, there is no one suffering so much for lack of the right man in the right place, nor so anxious to find him as the owner. There is not a firm in Pittsburgh today which is not in the constant search for business ability, and every one of them will tell you that there is no article in the market at all times so scarce. There is always a boom in brains. Cultivate that crop, for if you grow any amount of that commodity, here is your best market, and you cannot overstock it. And the more brains you have to sell, the higher price you can exact. They are not quite so sure a crop as wild oats, which never fail to produce a bountiful harvest, but they have the advantage over these in always finding a market. Do not hesitate to engage in any legitimate business, for there is no business in America, I do not care what, which will not yield a fair profit if it receives the unremitting, exclusive attention and all the capital of capable and industrious men. Every business will have its season of depression. Years always come during which the manufacturers and merchants of the city are severely tried. Years when mills must be run, not for profit but at a loss, that the organization and men may be kept together and employed, and the concern may keep its products in the market. But on the other hand, every legitimate business producing or dealing in an article which man requires is bound in time to be fairly profitable, if properly conducted. And here is the prime condition of success, the great secret. Concentrate your energy, thought, and capital exclusively upon the business in which you are engaged. Having begun in one line, resolve to fight it out on that line, to lead in it, adopt every improvement, have the best machinery, and know the most about it. The concerns which fail are those which have scattered their capital, which means that they have scattered their brains also. They have investments in this or that or the other, here, there, and everywhere. Don't put all your eggs in one basket is all wrong. I tell you, put all your eggs in one basket, and then watch that basket. Look round you and take notice. Men who do that do not often fail. It is easy to watch and carry the one basket. It is trying to carry too many baskets that one breaks most eggs in this country. He who carries 3 baskets must put one on his head, which is apt to tumble and trip him up. One fault of the American businessman is lack of concentration. To summarize what I have said, aim for the highest, never enter a barroom, do not touch liquor, or if at all, only at meals. Never speculate, never endorse beyond your surplus cash fund. Make the firm's interests yours. Break orders always to save owners. Concentrate. Put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket. Expenditure always within revenue. Lastly, be not impatient, for as Emerson says, no one can cheat you out of ultimate success but yourselves. I congratulate poor young men upon being born to that ancient and honorable degree which renders it necessary that they should devote themselves to hard work. A basket full of bonds is the heaviest basket a young man ever had to carry. He generally gets to staggering under it. We have in this city credible instances of such young men who have pressed to the front rank of our best and most useful citizens. They deserve great credit. But the vast majority of the sons of rich men are unable to resist the temptations to which wealth subjects them and sink to unworthy lives. I would almost as soon leave a young man a curse as burden him with the almighty dollar. It is not from this class you have rivalry to fear. Partners' sons will not trouble you much, but look out that some boys poorer, much poorer than yourselves, whose parents cannot afford to give them the advantages of a course in this institute, advantages which should give you a decided lead in the race. Look out that such boys do not challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Look out for the boy who has to plunge into work direct from the common school and who begins by sweeping out the office. He is the probable dark horse that you had better watch. And section number 1, a talk to young men.